Shaul Rosenblatt, and welcome to the Tikkun's Weekly Davar. This week's portion is Pikudey, the last portion in the book of Exodus, and talks about as we've been talking about past few weeks, the Tabernacle. So last one, the Tabernacle, and we're kind of done for next year, till next year. In the discussion of the Tabernacle, this week's portion, kind of you read through it, makes out as though Betzalel, who was the person who was in charge of building it, it kind of sounds like he built the whole thing on his own. It's the way it kind of comes across. And that just wouldn't be possible. It's just a big structure. It's not physically possible for him to build it on his own. So why does it sort of put it in a way that it sounds like he's the one that made it? So the Rabbis explain to us that Betzalel is the one who made the greatest sacrifices, who was the most committed to it, who put the most effort and most energy into it, and as a result of that, the Torah says it as though he did it himself. And it's a principle in life. It's not true just of the Tabernacle. It's true for us all. The more we put into something, the more effort, the more struggle, the more we sacrifice for something, the more it means to us. You see it with money. The more someone's had to struggle to make money, and it's been hard for him, the more he appreciates and values it. And somebody who was kind of handed on a plate, someone inherited money. It's rare that somebody inherits money and really values it and really appreciates it. Easy come, easy go. You see another example would be the Zionists in the land of Israel. You know, the early Zionists had a deep, deep connection to the land of Israel, a deep feeling of commitment, because they made so many sacrifices for it, because they cleared swamps, because they made deserts bloom, because they struggled with mosquitoes and terrible conditions. Less so today. Less so because people haven't always necessarily made the same sacrifices in the same way. You see that people had a much stronger sense of patriotism in this country after World War II, because again they made sacrifices. There was a stronger connection, stronger feeling as a result. Making sacrifices gives us a feeling of connection towards things. And because Betzalel made the most sacrifices for the Tabernacle, he's the one that is looked upon. He had the strongest connection and is therefore the one who's looked upon as the one that really did it. But more subtle sacrifices in life also. Children are a tremendous amount of effort in terms of time and emotional commitment. And because we sacrifice, we feel connected. Because we sacrifice on their behalf, it deepens our sense of love and our sense of feeling towards them. Coming home early from work to put the kids to bed is not an easy thing to do. Telling them a story whereby you make up a story that teaches them a lesson, that entertains them, but at the same time teaches them a lesson that you really want to get across, is harder still. Much easier to read them Thomas the Tank Engine. Being calm, staying calm when they've written all over your newly painted walls. I think most parents will relate to that one. Not screaming when they've got out of bed for the 10th time, the 20th time, and giving them independence when we are so afraid of what they'll do with it. Sacrifices we make, challenges that we overcome, are things that we give to our children, and through those sacrifices and through that effort we create the deepest of bonds with them. And the same is true in marriage. The more sacrifices you can make for your marriage, the better your marriage is going to be. And I don't just mean giving in to your spouse because they're driving you crazy. That's not a sacrifice you're making for them. That's something you're doing for yourself. You just couldn't be bothered. You just don't want the hassle. That's not what I mean by a sacrifice. Sacrifices are more subtle than that. Sacrifice in marriage is giving your wife the chocolate bar and not even telling her that it's the last one, not even mentioning it. That's a sacrifice. That's tough. When your spouse embarrasses you in public, not mentioning it until later on, holding yourself back and just letting it go. Getting up at night with the kids and not feeling the need to say in the morning that you did so. These are the type of sacrifices that I'm talking about. Wanting to blame your spouse for problems in the marriage and being willing to overlook it and look to yourself first and see what your role is. These are not easy things to do, and they're sacrifices that we make. And when we make those sacrifices, our connection grows that much deeper. No one forced Betzalel to make sacrifices, to be committed to the tabernacle. It was a labor of love. He did it because he wanted to build a temple that would sanctify God's name. But he had the deepest connection as a result of it. No one forces us either. But it's a simple equation. The more we invest, the more we sacrifice, the more committed we are to things, the more we'll enjoy them, the more pleasure they'll give us, the more feeling of connection we will have to them. If there are things in our life that we want to mean something to us, that we want to mean something to us in the long run, and sacrifices are the way to have them mean something to us and to ensure that they do. Sacrifice is far from being something to be avoided and to be an unpleasant part of life. The truth is they are a wonderful, wonderful means. And through that means, we're able to make the important things in life really matter to us. I wish you a Shabbat Shalom. And if you are interested in finding more about the ideas I've talked about or finding more about Tikkun in general, please log on to our website, tikkun with 1k.co.uk. Thank you.